ROI is a broad term that should be broken down into other acronyms. For instance, cap rate. So a cap rate is a capital rate that is typically referring to real estate. Again, in my example, if you bought $100,000 worth of real estate and you got a return of $10,000, your cap rate would be 10%. If you paid $200,000 for that same piece of property and received $10,000 worth of a return that year, you would have a 5% cap rate. Cap rate is typically, referring to real estate. ROI can refer to anything. It can refer to real estate. It can refer to stocks. It can actually even refer to marketing. Like a lot of my digital marketing friends talk about the ROI of a performing digital marketing campaign where they go put an ad out, they spend $10,000 and they get, $1,000. In that case, that would be a 10% ROI. But they talk about ROI in that manner. The problem I have with the explanations of ROI is when it refers to leveraged real estate. So I gave you the correct definition of ROI or cap rate when it comes to paying cash for something. But what about when you're talking about a piece of property that has been leveraged? Can you compare that calculation to, say, a cap rate? And the answer is no. Let me give you an example. Let's pretend you bought that same $100,000 house. You put a loan against it for $70,000. The return on it is still, call it $7,000, because now you're paying for principal and interest. You would look at that and calculate it the exact same way, because what you do is you take the return divided by, what you put into it. And so in this case, actually, let me give a better example on the leverage side. This is where it gets a little bit more complicated. On the cash side, it's really simple. I get $10,000, I put in $100,000, therefore it's 10%. But when you're talking about leverage, it's like, well, how much money did you actually put into it? Yes, the bank gave you $70,000. Did you put in $30,000? So in that case, if you put in $30,000 and got a return of $3,000, that would be 10%. I'm trying to make this really simplistic. And so in both scenarios, the free and clear house and the leverage house both have a 10% ROI. And that's how it gets presented among real estate investors and wholesalers and just people all around, gurus, other gurus. You can't compare those two ROIs. See, the purpose of an ROI is to make a determination as to whether or not it makes sense for your investing strategy. The problem with it is saying, oh, this has a 10% ROI is kind of misleading, because that free and clear house is virtually risk-free, right? It has no debt. There's no chance that the bank could come and take that away. The value of the house could drop, certainly, but you only sell if you want to sell. Whereas with a leveraged house, there is risk. There is more risk in a leveraged house, meaning there's a loan against it. There is more risk in that scenario. And so to say I get a 10% ROI on my leveraged house is not comparing apples to apples, which is the purpose of using the words ROI to begin with. ROI is supposed to make you say, oh, that's a 6%, that's an 8%, that's 12%. That 12% is a better deal than that 7% than this 4%, right? That's its whole purpose. And when you compare, leveraged real estate to cash real estate, that muddies the water. Kind of comes off as a little bit, frankly, deceptive. Instead, the right phrase to use is that the cash on cash return on this is 10%. The cap rate of that free and clear house is 10%. You say cap rate for the free and clear houses, you say cash on cash for the leverage houses. That's an easy way a lot of real estate investors have determined to communicate about what the ROI is of their project. So when you compare a cash on cash return of 10% versus a cap rate of 10%, those are not the same investments, and real estate investors like me will know the difference, saying that cash on cash return against that leverage house has more risk. Therefore, that 10% doesn't mean as much as the 10% of that cap rate on that free and clear house. Hey, thanks for watching. I've got a free video on a business you can do on nights, weekends, and margins of your workday. So follow this QR code, click the link, and watch that video now.